Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fun-filled night on Spirit Connections, here live at the WCTV studios in Wareham. Well, if you guys haven't noticed, you have a whole new look. Well, just for tonight. Steph is unfortunately under the weather, but she will be back next week. So we have a special guest in the chat room, Mr. Carlston Wood, which you'll see in a moment. But I want to welcome you guys to another night. And I'm super excited because we have so much going on this week. I feel like I can't control myself. Okay, so first of all, this Friday night, especially you guys in the Fall River area, I'm going to be on Troy City Radio. I'm going to be doing readings there, so I want you guys to call in for your free mini reading. I'm actually going to be giving Jason Medeiros, who is the host, I'm going to be giving him a reading as well. So you guys have to tune in. And I'm giving away a pair of tickets to my Spirit Connections event on June 10th. So definitely check that out. Then for all you guys that are in the New Hampshire area, if you haven't noticed my posts on my Spirit Medium Tiffany page on Facebook and also my website, tiffanyrice.com, I'm going to be doing a Angel Kisses gallery reading with Nicole Stevens at the Nashua Holiday Inn. I'm having a tough time speaking tonight. So there are tickets still available for that. That is on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 13th from 7 to 9. So definitely check that out too. Well, I have to say I do miss Steph because I'm so used to having her to bounce off of, and it's just my lonesome. But again, I can't wait to have her back. I know. So another good event that I want to talk about too, which I'll be posting a clip of it on my tiffanyrice.com website, is Phantom PI has another episode 3 coming up. And I'm actually really, really excited because they asked me and I was able to take part in it, and it's actually filmed here at WC Studios in Wareham. So we were able to take the night and investigate, and you have to see what we got. We actually have a clip of it, just a little 45-second clip. So what you're gonna have to do is tune in the beginning of summer to watch it. I'm really excited. But for all you guys at home, here's the clip. I was immediately drawn to this room right when, for some reason, when we were dividing everybody up as to where we should investigate.
Yeah.
Right away. Even you said it too.
Yeah.
You know, you followed your gut.
I didn't want down there. I just looked this way. This way.
He probably wants us to, like, cook.
Get up and dance.
Oh.
Nose of the cheek.
I absolutely love that because I think it's so funny how just all of us are like, yay, yay, the flashlight, the flashlight. So I can only imagine the rest of it. That's the only clip that these guys will let me watch. So I can only imagine what the entire night turned into. So we'll be watching it together at the same time. And definitely keep on looking at WCTV.org for more info on that. And of course, you know I'm going to post it on my Spirit Medium Tiffany page for all of you guys so you can watch it with us. So again, that's going to be the beginning of summer. So check it out. And I will be coming back with my guest of the evening. Stay tuned. So tonight I have, this is going great. I'm really excited how everything is turning out. So we just need to add some music in it, and that's all. We just need some music. But my guest tonight is the most fabulous Miss Robin Curtin.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Astrologer and birth chart extraordinaire.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say.
Thank
you
you.
so much for coming down all this way. I mean, she had over an hour drive. Anything past a 15-minute drive to me is pretty far.
It's my pleasure. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you so much.
Since Spirit Connection started back in April, I've been trying to get her on, and
finally,
yeah, she's
finally,
like, I need the studio. I can't do this out of your home. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm finally privileged to have you on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to talk about astrology, one of my favorite subjects.
I know. I met Robin a few years ago, actually. Asia Cook, who was on our show for the Body Wraps.
Right.
She's a mutual friend of ours, and she had mentioned, she's like, oh, you have to get in touch with my friend Robin.
Yep.
I do her hair, I do your hair, you guys have to talk, and she does these birth charts, and I told her about you, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up kind of just cold calling each other. Yeah, it was like an email, and then it was a cold call, and she needed my birth information to do my birth chart.
Yes.
So I gave her the information, which was, what do you need for a birth chart?
Birth information, what you need is your birth date, day, month, year, and if you know it, if you can get it from your birth certificate or a really good source like your mom, time of birth. And once I get that, and place of birth, then I can draw up your birth chart and we can talk all about you, which we did when we sat down. And that was,
of course,
that was so much fun.
I was like, something about me, sign me up. That's something that I want to hear
Being
about.
an Aries.
Yeah.
It's all about me, right?
Yeah. Me, what, you?
I
No,
even
me.
have Tiffany's chart. I don't know if you can get a good view of it, but I have Tiffany's chart here.
It's a big circle.
In front of me. It's
a
a big circle.
So, oh, sorry. I was just going to, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
I
that's
tend to
okay.
do that a lot. I really have no etiquette here. But the reason why I contacted Robin is because Asia had told me about the birth charts, and so my little knowledge that I had of it, it was just basically, I'm into astrology. I like my horoscope. I like, I like to learn more about me, and I didn't realize how scientific and how there's just so many different levels as far as what you do to give a reading. So it's not like a paragraph reading where you have your own astrologer. So can you continue on with
Absolutely.
information?
I mean, astrology has so many uses, and there's so many there's different things that I do. I do relationship readings, I do event readings, but mostly the main reason that people come to me is because they want a birth chart reading. And you say, what's that? What's a birth chart? A birth chart is basically a snapshot. It's a photograph. It's a moment in time. It's a look at where exactly the planets were at the moment that you were born. Where was the sun? Where was the moon? Where was Venus? Where was Mars? And that is actually a language. It's a language that tells you all about you. And a lot of people are skeptical, or they think, well, I already know all about me. Why do I need to know more about me? But I'm a spiritual and psychological astrologer. So basically, it's like life coaching. People come and maybe they're in the middle of some kind of issue or crisis, or they just want to know more about themselves, get more clarity on their life, who they are. Who are you? Why do you do the things that you do? Why do things happen to you the way that they do? And what's going on with me now? What's coming up for me in the future? That's a big one. People want to know what's coming up.
Everybody wants to know. People
What's
ask
coming
me
up?
that. Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen? And where some people work in the psychic realms where it can just come to them from the universe actually speaks. I'm just the messenger here. I'm just the reader. The universe speaks through your birth chart to you. Having your sun in Taurus, let's say, means something, and it means something to you. Having your sun in Aries, what does that mean? It means that you are a fiery person.
So a sun sign is your basic, I was born March 23rd.
Yes,
so
that's where the
Aries.
sun was, what sign it was in when Tiffany was born. And if you look at the birth chart, I don't know if you can see, but there's not just the sun, there's a lot going on there. There's Jupiter and Saturn and a lot of different planets, but mostly people know when you say, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Taurus, I'm an Aries, people know where the sun was because we open the newspaper and we see that little blurb in the horoscope, and sometimes that horoscope will make astrology seem like baloney.
Right,
Because you'll read it and it will say, expect a financial windfall today. Go buy a lottery ticket. So you go buy a lottery ticket and you don't win, and you think, astrology is a bunch of baloney. But it's not. It's so much more than the sun sign, and obviously everyone born on March 23rd isn't going to win the lottery on a certain day.
Right.
So that's just more for entertainment purposes, I think, those little blurbs. When you really get into the science and the art of astrology and what your birth chart is all about, you really get a sense of who you are and what your life is all about, and it just makes you feel better about yourself.
So go on, Robin. Talk more, fill me in more.
Well, when I sat down with Tiffany, and she knew that she was an Aries, and that's about it. But then we say, where is her moon? And that means, where was the moon when she was born? And the moon represents something. Everything in our lives is spelled out in the birth chart. Our finances, our relationships, our health, our career. Everything that our life is about is spelled out in the birth chart, so we can read it all and get a clear vision of what's going on now, what's happened in the past, and what's going to happen in the future. So we looked at Tiffany's moon, and though she's a fiery sun Aries person, if we look at the moon is her emotional nature, and that is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo. And Virgo is very different from Aries. So that means that Tiffany has a push-pull inside of her. The Aries wants to go, 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 but the moon, which is the emotions, her emotional nature, wants to be more practical and rational and put things in little compartments and boxes and think this out. So it's kind of, I want to go, but I want to think about it. I want to go, but I want to think about it. And
that explains my decision-making process. It's the most difficult thing. 2 hours at H&M to buy a skirt, a $6 skirt. 2 hours. It took me 2 hours to decide.
That's it. You just can't pull the trigger.
Yeah,
because the Virgo moon wants to save the money, and the Aries just wants to go for it and grab it and buy it. That's such a little thing, but it explains so much. And that's just the sun and the moon. So there are so many planets and even asteroids like Juno and Ceres and Lilith. I mean, things that you really don't know about until you sit down and get your birth chart read. And we can actually look at that moment in time, read what it's all about, and it's really, it's not just a monologue where I sit and talk to you, it's a discussion. Because the more I know about how you've manifested your life, the more we can get clarity on what's going on.
We so need to get back together and do this again.
I know.
Now, let me ask you this. So I know you brought up the sun sign, the moon sign, and then there's another sign.
The rising sign.
The rising sign?
The rising sign, yeah.
Okay.
Which sign was rising on the horizon at the moment of your birth? And that's what the birth time represents. And where the sun and the moon are internal, it's how we react to things, and the people who know us really well know that about us. Like when I first met Tiffany, I wouldn't know she was an Aries. I'd have to know her for a while to get to know that. And I wouldn't know she's a Virgo moon because that's her emotional reactions. I'm not going to pick up on that when I first meet her. The rising sign is your actual physical body. It's your physical presence. It's your first impression. And our first impression is really important.
Yes.
I mean, don't you see someone and think, oh, he looks like kind of a jerk, or she seems really nice.
Right.
It's the impression that they give off, which can sometimes be very different from who you are inside. So if you know your rising sign, you see the impression that you give off, that can give you a lot of clarity on, gee, this is how other people see me. Because we can't do that.
My rising sign is a Virgo. So I'm double Virgo.
Yes.
Double.
She is, and I'm like quadruple Virgo, so I think that's why we get along so well, all the Virgo here.
So I come off as a Virgo, but on the inside I'm an Aries.
Yes. Virgo being, again, very, it's an earth sign, meaning it's very resourceful. you know how to get things and how to get things done. And that's the way people see you, as a thinking person, someone who really thinks about things. Virgo is a sign of the mind, too. So they're not going to know that Aries part of you until, you know, the people really close to you, your family, your friends, your boyfriend, aren't going to know, yeah, she's an Aries.
Yeah.
But the rising sign is how you appear when you're just walking into the room and just saying hello, how you come across to people. Because even looking in a mirror, we can't really get a full sense.
No.
Have you ever seen yourself, obviously, have you ever seen yourself on video and said, oh my God, that's what I look like?
Yes.
You're kind of shocked. You're taken aback. This is how other people see you. So the rising sign signifies that, and it gives you like an aha moment, you know, when you learn about that.
And so much work goes into this. So I go and I meet up with Robin, and it's not just we sit down and she tells us these signs, but she gives me this whole packet of my life, and I'm thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought it was just, again, like I thought it was just a little, oh, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about me, and I've always been very interested in astrology, so you know, I can't wait. But it's really goes
very
into
involved.
detail. It is. There's so many. There's different houses.
Exactly.
Can you explain what a house is?
The houses actually describe where in life we're talking about. They're like astrological real estate, okay? The sun is a planet in the birth chart and represents how we act, our behavior, okay? So that's a psychological part of us, a part of our personality. But the houses tell where are we talking about. When we're talking about Tiffany here, where are we talking about her in her relationships? Are we talking about her in her home and family? Are we talking about her in her career? All the different aspects of life are represented in the birth chart. There's a house of groups, friends, associations. There's a house that represents school, education, a house that represents siblings. I mean, everything, this is the universe's gift to us, okay? Because the universe knows that being a human on Earth is very involved. It's not easy all the time.
No.
There's a lot going on in our lives all the time. We have to think about finances. We have to think about relationships, a spouse, a partner, co-workers, bosses, siblings. I mean, there's so much to being a person, and there's so much to life, and the universe created us and knows this and put it all down in a language to help us live this life. So that's why I love sitting down with people and just giving them clarity, and it's a validation is what it is. This is me. And the universe knows me, the universe is looking out for me and has my back and wants me to know what's going on in my life. So that's why I'm always so excited to share this with people, because otherwise it's like a gift that you just haven't opened, that you don't know about.
Well, let me ask you this, because there's always critics everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people will say to you, well, that's just a general statement, as far as maybe if they have a question about their sign.
Right.
You could say, well, not you, but they could say, well, that's just a generalization.
Right. If we're just talking about a sign energy, then that is general. Because if you think about it, there's only 12 signs.
Right.
So 1 out of 12 people is going to be an Aries. So if we're talking about an energy, then that is very general. But if we're talking about a person born on a very specific day, if I have so many planets in Virgo, and Virgo is the sign of the perfectionist. So I would never do this work if it wasn't absolutely true.
Right.
I would get a stomachache if I had, I would never sit down with someone and give them a bunch of baloney and ask them to give me money for it.
Right, right.
It's always true. It amazes me because astrology is a language, but we don't know exactly who wrote it. You can say the universe, you can say our higher power, our angels, our spirit guides. Some people say God. We don't know who wrote this language of astrology. If you look at another foreign language like Chinese,
right?
Okay, you look at the book, you turn around the book and you can see who wrote the book. even though there's a bunch of funny symbols there and you can't read it, you don't know how to read it, you know who wrote it. You look at this and it looks like Chinese. We don't know who wrote this, but it's someone who really, really cares about us and wants us to succeed.
Also in that packet, I wanted to kind of go and show you guys at home exactly what else is entailed. So not only does it look like a pie chart, but there's also daily affirmations that comes up with that. And forgive me, I don't have my glasses on tonight, so I can't even see that far.
Do you have the packet in here? You have the report. Oh, here it is. This is, here's another thing. Astrology is a science, but it's also an art. And that means that it's open to interpretation. And that's true of a lot of professions, like a doctor. Okay, you can go to a doctor and all doctors are going to agree that this is your elbow. Okay, if he doesn't, he's a quack, right? But if you go to a doctor for elbow pain and one tells you you need surgery and another one tells you, I would never do surgery on that elbow, you need physical therapy, okay? You would just say, well, that's two different opinions. You wouldn't say one doctor's a quack, you would just say, well, I got one opinion and I got a second opinion and I'm going to choose which one. It's the same with astrology. There's a science to it. Everyone should say that you're an Aries sun. If you ever go to an astrologer and they say that you're a Scorpio, get your money back. Because that's the science of it. That's the actual language that I learned how to read. But what does it really mean to be an Aries sun, Virgo moon, Virgo rising? She's going to get my take on that. That's where my creativity, my psychic abilities come in, and I give my interpretation of your chart. So I do something which I think is pretty unique for my clients. I put together a packet for them of their birth chart, also their transits, which mean the orbit of the planets in the sky right now in relation to your birth chart will tell you what's going on now, because the planets didn't just stay there when you were born. They kept moving. They're constantly moving, and they have orbits, and some move slow, some move fast, and they interact with the planets in your birth chart, and things happen in your life. So we talk about that. But I also put together a packet of healing affirmations that I think will help that person. And we talk about, we even go into past lives. I mean, you really have to be pretty open. You should be open. You'll get the most out of it the more open you are when you come to a reading. And I also give about a 7 to 10 page report on the chart to take home with you, so you get a lot.
So with my, how could we fit in my past life that we came up with the daily affirmation?
Your past life is Aries. So that means Aries is the sign of, if you know the symbol of Aries, it's the ram. The ram with the big horns that you don't want to mess with, okay? And it's a fire sign. It's a fire sign. There are 4 elements in astrology: earth, water, air, and fire. And each sign can be in its own element. So Tiffany's sun is fire. That means she likes to be called the Empress, right? The warrior. It's when fire gets lit, it's just going to go, go, go until somebody tries to put it out. And I wouldn't want to get in their way if somebody tries to put it out, because they just want to go, go, go. And that's what fire wants to do, just burn a path, blaze a trail. So when I look at her past life as an Aries, it means that in her past life, she really had to fight. She had to fight, fight, fight for things. But in this life, she doesn't have to fight so much, but she doesn't know it because her past life memories are strong, and she keeps thinking that she has to fight, fight, fight. So if you reach across the zodiac into the opposite sign, which is
Libra.
Libra, and that's where she needs to be in this lifetime, and that's what the chart tells you, where you were before, where your past life memories are, and where you need to be in this lifetime. And Libra is the sign of the scales and relationship and relating to others. So we talked about affirmations for that.
And that's essentially that's what I need help with, is learning balance, and instead of using the term I, as Aries do, I have to use the term we.
No I in team.
No, I know, together everyone achieves more. But it's very difficult.
And it's an ongoing thing. It's your life destiny. I call it the destiny point. And your past life is the been there, done that point.
It's true, but it's so hard because your past sneaks up on you.
Well, especially where you were born with the sun in the same sign. So you still have that fight in you. So obviously if the universe gave you a sun in this lifetime, you still need it.
Right.
You still need it. So you have those gifts and those talents, but you still need to reach across to Libra and balance those scales. And
It's so difficult. So what are some of
It is.
the affirmations, the healing affirmations?
healing affirmations for Tiffany is, this is not a me first lifetime. No, it's an us lifetime.
So
You and I. You and I, Tiffany. This is a people lifetime. This is something that she keeps where, on your bureau or next to your bed, or
yes, I repeat it to myself every night.
this is not a me first lifetime. This is a people lifetime, and when the team is successful, I win. So that's how you win, by taking everything into consideration, and everyone. Yes.
That's a lot.
When I focus on supporting others, I feel confident. But this one, I mean, you're doing with your medium work, you are supporting so many people and giving gifts to so many people. And you feel confident about that. I don't need a fellow warrior, I need a peaceful relationship. So Libra is all about peace. So that's where Tiffany needs to go. She needs to find her peace.
Serenity.
Balance the scales. Not too much this way, not too much that way. So that's what we look at. Everyone has a destiny point. They're called the North and South nodes. They're in everybody's chart, so that's what I save for last. I always save that for last because it's my favorite.
Before you get into those, I just want to know, Carl, do we have any questions so far in the chat room?
Yes, we do. We have
Right.
several questions from the chat room.
I see, I'm so used to hearing Steph type with
I
her
know.
nails, so I kept on looking over. I'm like, is he typing? Is he not typing?
Is it Steph typing, or is somebody tagging the building with a spray paint can? First of all, we've had a couple of comments on the production of the show. Everybody thinks that the production quality is excellent.
Great.
And they really love it. There's been somebody in the chat room that's had a reading by you, and they've given you 5 stars, high ratings for that.
I love it, I love it.
Your Aries twin is in the chat room, and she misses you.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see.
Who's that?
Your Aries
Me?
twin misses you.
Are you
She's in the
talking to
chat
me?
room. Yes,
I
you.
can't- Sorry, I can't see you.
Yeah, someone got a
Okay.
reading by you and gave you 5 stars.
Yes.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
me?
you.
Yes.
Oh.
Somebody's in the chat room that you did a reading
I
for.
thought you were plotting for me, and I'm like, does she know he's talking about her?
And then the other comment was that you're,
Thank you.
yes,
I'm slow.
that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're gonna help
I
move
should have
things
worn the
along.
glasses. So I'm like, I can't see who you're looking at.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can
okay,
hear
good. Your Aries twin misses you. She's in the chat room.
Yes.
Okay.
We miss her.
And we hope that she's here with us soon. We told her that she's here in spirit, and people don't have to look at me. Also, we wanted to find out about past lives.
Do you focus
did we touch
a lot
on that yet?
on past lives, or?
Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, that is represented in the chart by something called the South Node. It's not a planet. It's nothing that you can see. It's just a point in space, and it's an axis, the north and like the North and the South Pole. It's the North and the South nodes of the moon, and they actually represent the South is your past, and the North is your present. Your present and your future, because it's where you need to be now in order to move forward. So we look at your birth chart, and we look at where the South Node is and what sign it's in. And also, I do a lot of meditation on that. And I get, because again, there's only 12 signs in the zodiac, but every one I sit down with, I get such a different stuff. I can really feel this person was, I just did a reading with someone, and I got a sense of her being a high priestess up on a mountain praying, all by herself, all alone. And she is really spiritual, and she prays a lot. But in this lifetime, she's not supposed to be alone. She's supposed to be out socializing. So this is like this life is her re-entry into society. And she was like, oh my God, that's so tough for me to do the whole social thing and social graces, and I'd rather just be by myself and do it all myself. And that's because her past life memory is so strong, saying to her, you don't need people, you don't need people, you can do it yourself. So we kind of gave her past life a name, like say we call her, Sue.
Yeah, I just like Sybil, isn't that?
And I say, that was Sue, this, now you're Tammy, and Tammy needs to be out socializing and talking to people. So we talked about that. We gave her the healing affirmations, and once we do the initial birth chart reading, I have people check in with me every year for a yearly update, because where the planets are on your birthday tells what kind of year you're going to have. So there's a lot of information in astrology. I mean, I could talk for weeks.
I know. The last time I went to you was 2010, so I can only imagine.
We're due.
Yeah.
We really do.
We
to
will.
Sit down.
We will. I promise you we will. If not next week, soon.
And where do I do readings? I do readings at 2 centers. One is called Open Doors in Braintree, and one is called Hope Floats Wellness Center in Kingston. And they're both wonderful places. I've taught classes at both, Basics of Astrology 1 and 2, and those classes are so much fun because people...
I'd love to take one of your classes, just because I think, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay, no.
Again, but what I was going to say is when I first started getting involved in the metaphysical portion of my life, like astrology is usually, I think, the gateway into something different, something that's not the norm, but yet so normal. Right. So it's mostly wide respected by the population.
For a lot of people, it's their first exposure because as a teen, you'll read in 17 magazine, or you'll read in Cosmopolitan, or you'll grow up reading those horoscopes, and then that's how I learned about it. I just felt such a pull, and I was doing it all the time, and then family and friends knew that I was into it and started calling me, and my husband said, are you going to do something with this?
Right.
Because and I was reading the books, and I had questions, but a book can't answer you.
Right.
So that's when I went to school. I went to the Astrology Institute, and
Where is that?
Well, it was in Waltham. It's now moved to Providence, but then it was in Waltham, and it was a wonderful...
That sounds so interesting.
I loved it. I loved it, and I graduated from there in 2002, and I've been doing readings ever since. But when I first started out, I never thought that I would actually be an astrologer. It was just something I was so interested in. But then I said, I want to share this with people. I don't want to just sit around and have all this knowledge in my head. I want to share it. I want to share it. So that's when I started doing readings for family and friends, and they said, we want to, do more, do more. Yeah, do more. So that's when I started doing it for just anyone who wants to come and learn about themselves. And I think I get as much out of it as they do because I just love sharing it.
Now, Carl.
Yes.
More questions?
Yes, we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
In the chat room, from the chat room, Sarah Janer 96 wants to know, what do you think is the strongest zodiac sign?
Strongest. That's really tough.
I guess it would mean what avenue of strength?
Yeah, because there's so many different kinds of strength. Like Scorpio has a strength that's an emotional strength. Scorpio, people who have a big Scorpio influence in their chart are almost like a magnet. They draw people.
And what's Scorpio? Is that
Scorpio is
the end of September to October?
Scorpio. Well, no. Scorpio.
Don't go to me for any astrology.
Wait. Libra is around September 21st to October 21st, and then around October 21st to November 21st.
That's Scorpio. I always get those two.
I know because Halloween is in there. That's why I always think Scorpio and Halloween is a very, dark, intense holiday when everybody puts on the ghosts and the masks and all that, and that's Scorpio type of power. It's very deep and intense, and it's transformative. And we just had a big full moon in Scorpio. And
The supermoon.
The supermoon, I think a lot of people felt their emotions were very stirred up
Right.
by that. But then there's the strength of Aries.
Yeah.
Aries is the sign of independence, and being on your own and standing strong, that's a lot of strength. And then I think there's a lot of strength in Capricorn, because Capricorn is the manager and the father figure of the zodiac, who tells people what to do and does it well. It's an authority figure. So I think each sign has their own unique
Has their own unique
their
strength.
own
And
unique strength, because each of us have our own strengths and weaknesses.
I like that
Yeah.
answer, because I think we automatically would think, oh, well, it must be a fire sign, because fire, kind of outdoes all the other signs, but at the same time.
But
it does,
Earth, when you think about
right.
Earth signs, I mean, when I jump off this chair, I have no doubt that the Earth is going to be there under my feet to support me. And that's what the Earth signs are like, very dependable, reliable. But the shadow side of that is a heavy burden on your shoulders. If you're a very dependable, reliable person and you're always on time, a lot of people aren't. So a lot of people aren't. So you're the one who's, always so, trying to do the right thing, and that can be, a heavy burden on,
Carl, what's
on
your
Earth
sign?
signs.
I'm a Taurus. We were just discussing signs in the chat room, and after we asked the question, what is the strongest sign, a couple of people piped up and said Cancer was one with exclamation
Cancer.
points, and then Taurus.
Taurus.
Of which I am, and
Yeah.
of course, growing up, my mother used to say, "You're Taurus. You're full of the bull." So who knows?
But I'll tell you, Taurus the bull in astrology, it's not the charging bull. We think of a bull in a china shop or a bull running down the streets in Spain. It's the bull that just likes to sit under a tree with some nice grass and some nice sunshine, and really, doesn't want any drama, doesn't want any trouble, just kind of wants to be in its comfort zone. Taurus is very solid and steady and about comfort. How do you feel about that? Okay.
How do I feel about it? I feel that I could agree with that. I like that.
It's the five senses.
I'm very
tied
artistic.
into physical.
Yeah. I'm very artistic and a sensitive person in the emotional sense. But yeah,
And that's
I
your
can
moon.
be strong
That's your
when I
moon.
need to
We're
be.
talking about your sun in
Yes.
your sun in Taurus.
I need to learn. I'm still learning.
Is strong,
Absolutely.
very strong.
And I have another question from the chat room.
Okay,
From Stargirl.
Stargirl.
Hi, Stargirl.
I love it.
Stargirl, we love you. And Stargirl wants to know, how well do Aries and Sagittarius
Go together.
go together?
You knew the relationship questions were coming.
I knew that. Now remember that we're talking about signs. When we talk about Aries and Sagittarius, we're not talking about two people, because we're talking about two sign energies. So Stargirl must have a Sag in her
That
life.
sounds so funny.
Must have a Sag in her life.
Peanut Gallery.
Go ahead.
So Stargirl wants to know how she's going to do. Well, I'll tell you, Aries and Sagittarius, both being fire signs, are like best friends in the zodiac. They really are. In the zodiac, they just look at each other and can read each other's minds. Because fire knows fire. Just like my Virgo connected with your Virgo. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I know you. You have that sense. You have that sense of just compatibility there. But remember, we're just talking about your sun signs. Stargirl and, let's say Joe. Joe's moon sign could clash,
Right.
and have some conflict and some difficulties, that they need to get over. So this is what I love about relationship readings. In relationship readings, I would put Stargirl's chart in the middle and her Sagittarius's chart on the outside, and we would see how their planets interact, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are.
Ooh, that would be good to get involved in.
Oh yeah.
Well, would it? Would you leave happy? Would you leave crying?
I don't see any downside to astrology, because we all know that we have strengths and weaknesses, and we all know that every relationship is going to have, some great times, some hard times, some struggles. This is all to help us with that. It's kind of like just a cheat sheet to help you you know, to help you navigate your relationship and make the best out of it, and how to make the best choices. That's really what I want to help people do, is make the best choices.
And people love it, let's face it. Why do you think you check your daily horoscope? Because it's about you.
Right.
And that's what people like to hear about themselves.
Right.
We all have that. And when I use the term selfish, it's not in a negative way. It's
No,
just
it's selfish.
yes.
Right.
We need to, we feel like we need to hear, like, okay, well, what's going on for me today? Like, I'm having a bad day, what's going on? I'm happy, I wonder if anything better is gonna come my way, or whatever, you know, like, we
Right.
always like to find out more about us. So I think the birth chart is incredible because you get to learn so much more.
It lets you know that everything's not just random. Because when you see it all spelled out, and you say, wow, how did you know this? And I say, because it's right here.
Right.
It's written right here. And, you know, the universe wrote it down to show you that your life means something, is about something, and it's to help you live a more rewarding life, to really try to live your bliss, you know, which is what we all want to do.
And it points out things that maybe you need to be a little bit more aware of or concerned with.
It's all about awareness, because, like I said, it's funny, I haven't had a lot of Aries clients.
Yes.
I have not had a lot of Aries clients.
Why do you think that's
that is
so?
number one, because they're so busy.
No.
Hi, Mom. I was raised by an Aries. Aries mother, Aries grandmother, so I know the energy.
So how was that?
Very,
like, were they
very
motherly,
well.
or were they just kind of like, oh, you know?
Oh, I mean, my mom is just the best. The best. Just anything you need, so just there for you. It's like, Aries is like I said, fire. You need something, on the spot, what do you need?
Yeah.
You know, just then my grandmother the same way. If my mother wouldn't give me something, my grandmother would pull me aside and say, what do you want?
Right.
What do you need? But I don't think a lot of Aries come to me because, well, a few have come as gifts. They got gift certificates for me, and they came. So they didn't really come on their own.
I was a gift. Oh, no, never mind.
They've come, you are a gift. They were given gifts, and it's funny, a couple of Aries who came to me because someone gave them a gift reading said, you know, I almost canceled today. I almost didn't come. And I think it's because Aries, they're so go, 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 and like you said, selfish, you know. They feel like, I already know. I already know about myself. You know,
Right.
why do I need to sit down? I had an Aries woman say to me once, you know, I tried to meditate and I couldn't do it. What's that about anyway? Why do I need to sit and be quiet? You know, and I'm like, of course, because you're an Aries, you need to be going, you need to be doing, you're on fire.
Right.
So meditation is not for you.
Although I facilitate meditation, but it's
That's
very
not-
easy when I facilitate it, but
Right,
it's,
but
it's
that's
difficult
that's
when I
the
do it on my
Virgo.
own.
Virgo can definitely.
Bring
Virgo
it down.
can be still. The earth is still unless there's an earthquake. The earth is still. So
Makes
that
a lot of
It
sense.
makes a lot of sense.
Carl?
It does. I love it.
We
More
have
questions?
a few more questions from the chat room. It's pretty hopping tonight. Sarah Jane wants to know, are Geminis as bipolar as people say?
That's a good question. That is such a good question.
And
because
being married to one, I can say yes.
Well, Gemini is so interesting. If you think of the symbol, you know the symbol of Gemini?
the twins.
The twins. It's the only sign in the zodiac that has two things interacting. You think the ram of Aries is all alone. Taurus, the bull, all alone. The Libra is the scales. It's not even alive. It's just an inanimate object. Virgo, the virgin, alone. Okay. Pisces is two fish, but they're swimming in opposite directions.
Right.
They never even meet. Gemini isn't just two people, it's twins. How tight are twins?
Very.
Siblings.
Very close.
Okay, and your sibling's your first friend, right? So very close. It's two people talking to each other. One talking, one listening, one talking. Sometimes both talking at the same time. So that's where we get our Gemini's bipolar, because there's so much going on in their minds. It's like there's two people in one. So, I mean, bipolar sounds like it's a bad thing. And it's not. It's wonderful because Geminis are clever and witty, and they're always learning. They have a curiosity about them. My dad's a Gemini, and he's a college professor, and he runs a program for veterans, and you know, and he's a dad and a husband, and so much. He's way more busy than I am.
It's crazy because I do have to say this: all the Geminis that have come into my life, they're exceptional workers. They're really good at whatever it is that they choose to do. However, personality-wise, I will tell you that when it's a good day for everyone. But when it's a bad day, back off. Believe me, one of my best friends is a Gemini, and I've known her for so many years, and when she's in a good mood, everybody's in a good mood. But when she's in a bad mood, I'll just wait till she comes and talks to me. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Right. Now your friend, that is probably her moon, because that's how she is emotionally, okay? Gemini, the sun, is actually how she acts, how she does things. The love of knowledge, the curiosity of a child, the innocence of a child. Sometimes you can't get mad at a Gemini because it seems like, oh, they didn't really mean it. You know, there's such an innocence about them. But your emotional reactions, because again, my dad has a Gemini sun. Sorry, Dad, I'm talking about your chart. A Gemini sun, but his moon is very even-keeled. I mean, he doesn't, you know, I don't see him rise to anger. I don't see, you know, he has a very, very even emotional, you know, no temper at all.
We could go on and on. I know we only have a few more minutes left.
I know. And
so I want to just see if there's any more questions. And then,
or I can plug my classes.
And then, yes, no, we're definitely going to plug your classes. Believe me, because I want to be there. I want to take some. So, but I want to touch with a couple questions that we may possibly have first.
We have a couple more.
Okay.
Sarah Jane again would like to know, what about people that are on an astrology line? And I asked if that was the cusp, and she said yes. Can you explain that to us, please, a little?
On a cusp. A lot of people ask me about cusps, and I really don't believe in cusps. It's not something that I really pay a lot of attention to, because it's kind of like saying, oh, I was born on the cusp of January and February. If you're born at the end of January, it's either your January or your February.
Well, really quick, sorry to interrupt for the third time, but I just wanted to say,
Aries girl.
But I have something important to say. It's all about me.
This is not a me like that.
Hold on, we're not talking about my chart. No, but I wanted to say was that when you look at books, because I've looked at books, I'm the 23rd, so I'm pretty safe. But some books, if you're on the 20th, some will say April 20th, or some will say April 21st. So I think that's kind of where she's probably going with that.
Right. That's where you really have to either get some good software, or get a go on a reputable website, or come to an astrologer who's going to draw up your chart and tell you exactly where the planets are. Because my daughter is July 22nd, and usually that would be into Leo already. But that year, the sun still held on to Cancer, 29 degrees of Cancer.
Wow.
So her sun is in Cancer, and she is a Cancer, you know? She really is. And she's not a Leo. So even if the sun is about to go into another sign, if it's not there yet, then it's not there. So, but again, that's my interpretation. I mean, I'm sure there's some astrologers who work with cusps, and believe it, you know, in that, and work with that. Yeah.
Carl?
Yes. Are we in the age of Aquarius? And what exactly does that mean?
The age of Aquarius. Well, that's a long, it would take a long time. But the slower moving planets, right now, Neptune is in Pisces, Uranus is in Aries, Pluto is in Capricorn. So I think of us more right now as in the age of Capricorn, or in the age of Pisces, in these planets that are bringing huge life lessons to us. When those slower moving planets were in Aquarius, then I think that would have been the age of Aquarius, but I don't really subscribe to that we're in the age of Aquarius right now.
Now, what's coming up for this week as far as the whole astrology? Or
What's going on in the sky?
yeah, what's going on in the sky?
Well, the big thing right now is coming up in 10 days. Planets,
May 18th, mark your calendars.
May 18th. From May 18th to June 27th, Venus will be retrograde. And you astrology buffs out there know what retrograde means, but I'll tell you really quick. The planets are moving forward, but they also slow down, turn around, and go backwards. And that's called retrograde motion. Now, they're not really physically going backwards, but that's what it looks like from our point of view on Earth. And that's all we care about, is how things look from our perspective.
And you guys have to sort of, fourth time. But you guys that are on Facebook, go to Robin Curtin, astrologer, because it's astrologer, right? Not astrology. On
Yep,
your Facebook?
it's facebook.com/Robin, R-O-B-I-N, Curtin, no A like the drapes. It's just C-U-R-T-I-N, astrologer, because I'm going to be putting something out there about Venus retrograde and what it means, because Venus rules relationships and finances, so it's pretty important.
Do it now, and then go to Spirit Medium Tiffany and like that as well. No, but the reason why
And you
I say
don't
that
have
is
to be
because
on, my page is public. You don't have to have a Facebook page. If you just put it into your search bar, it will come up.
every single time she posts something, I'm always the one to be like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And I loved it. And for a while, she was kind of on hiatus for a little bit, and I ended up sending her an email like, can you please, I look forward to that, come on, you know. And
People want to know what's going on in the sky, I know.
when you posted about the supermoon, last week she posted
Yeah.
about the supermoon, which was this past Saturday, I was like, girls at work, I'm like, girls, listen to this, listen to this. And so they're like, so wait a minute, what does that mean? And I read it probably about 5 times to each person.
Yeah.
And yeah, because it's just, I like to be aware. And
Yes.
so your little post gives me hope that,
Good.
or like at least makes me aware of what's going on, you know?
Yeah, it just makes sense of things. It really just gives you a sense. One of my clients said, you know, I feel better about being me now. I feel like these things aren't character flaws. They're who I am.
Right.
You know, that the universe is saying this is who you are, and it's what we want you to be, it's what you need to be, and it's okay.
So now, for May 18th, and it goes into retrograde.
Venus going retrograde. When a planet goes retrograde, it means it's not manifesting outward, it's a time for inward reflection. And most of us want things to be moving forward, and we don't. I mean, we're in a very go society right now. Everything happens really fast.
Right.
We want to watch just 10-second videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Can't commit to 3 minutes.
And everything goes fast. So Venus, that rules relationships and finances, going backwards, is saying that we really need to sit back for a few weeks and think about our relationships and think about our finances, conserve. It's really a time for reflection about these things.
Well, we have one more question. Well, there's so much more, and I know we have
I
2
could talk
minutes
forever.
left. But Carl, we have one more question, and then I also want to talk about really quick just where you're going to be as far as events goes and how people can get in touch with you.
Okay.
So, Carl.
Yes, Sarah Jane in the chat room wants to know, and I hope I get this right because she said make sure you get this right.
Okay.
Do the Chinese astrology symbols match up to our astrology system in any way, shape, or form? The symbols or the meanings behind them? The Chinese versus the one that we know.
Yeah, Chinese astrology is just as involved as the astrology that I practice. And I'm so sorry, Sarah Jane, I just haven't gotten into it. There's so much involved in what I do, and I've read a little bit about, I know I'm in the year of the dog, and there's the rooster, and I've read a little bit about it, but I haven't really gotten into it, so I really can't talk about Chinese astrology. It's just not my specialty. But Sarah Jane, I hope that you come see me because you have a lot of questions. I'd love to sit down with you.
She's amazing. I'm telling you, she's amazing. And just the brief 2-hour conversation we had the other day on the phone.
Just a quick chat turned into 2 hours.
But she was just reminding me, like, I need to get back there. It's just again to learn about what's going on in your life present day. So the 2010 reading that I had, I'm sure, even though the format is the same, there's still again, like, I was going to call you Sarah now. Like Robin had mentioned, the planets are moving, and so it's constantly changing.
It's constantly changing, and to look at where the planets were on your birthday and just this past March is going to tell us a lot about this year, from March 2012 to March 2013. So you need to check in with your chart.
Robin, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, at Open Doors in Braintree, if you go to opendoors7.com, their website, you can sign up for a reading with me or one of my lectures or my classes. I have a 2-part class coming up where by the end of it, we are all astrologers, and we all end up reading charts of famous people that I put up on the board, because I'm going to go through all the signs from Aries to Pisces. I'm going to go through all the planets, all the houses.
My first thought was, Michael Jackson, August 29th. I don't know why I said that. I don't know. It just came into my head.
He's a Virgo.
I know. I had to, of course, because Virgos come to me.
He's a Virgo.
Magnetically.
Maybe he's here.
Maybe he is here.
Michael, I love you. Miss you.
MJ.
So this class is going to cover a lot of material. It's 2 Sunday mornings, Sunday, May 20th and May 27th at Open Doors. And I'm also doing, which I can't wait, a monthly astrology discussion. Once a month.
Is it like a round table?
Yes.
Oh,
and
great idea.
Seating's limited to 12, so you want to sign up.
Is that at Open Doors as well?
That's at Open Doors, and that is Thursday night, May 24th, from 7 to 8. I'm just going to I'll talk about Venus retrograde. I'll talk about what's going on in the sky that month, what people need to know, and then I just open it up to questions, and we'll do Q&A. We'll just exchange ideas, and it's a way for people to just talk to an astrologer, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be every month at Open Doors. And Hope Floats. Hope Floats in Kingston is a gorgeous place.
I talk about it all the time, guys.
The ground, you know it from Tiffany. The grounds are beautiful. There's a barn and a beautiful house, and there's a really spiritual, just peaceful feeling about it. And I do readings, and I'm going to be teaching a class there, I think, in July. The same 2-part series. So you can go to hopefloatswellness.com if Kingston is more your area. I know Boston people usually come down to Braintree, and sometimes the South Shore people come to Kingston. But my Facebook page will give all the information. So.
Robin Curtin, Astrologer, everybody. Thank you very much. And
Thank
go to
you.
Facebook and
Thank you.
definitely like that page. And I'm sure she's going to be posting all of her classes. So definitely check it out. Thank you, Robin, for being part of Spirit Connections.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you so much.
We're going to have you back.
I
every
can't
month.
wait. Thank
you can have your round table here. Why not? But have a good night, everybody. And we will see you next week with Candy Dalton. I will talk to you soon.